Please rise while the colors are posted.
Post colors.
Former Congressman Michael McNulty will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for our opening prayer. P.J. Higgett will lead us in prayer.
Almighty God, you are the source of our life, strength, and purpose. In your presence alone we find health, hope, and life. Guide us during this hour of fellowship and reflection to be grounded with the healing reminder of your love to all whose lives we touch this day. For it is in your glory we gather and offer our prayers. Amen.
Amen. Yes, sir. Right face. Right. Mark.
Please be seated. Good morning. I'm Peter K. Goebel, the Director of the Rensselaer County Veterans Service Agency. We have gathered here this morning to honor a Rensselaer County veteran for the month of October, and that veteran is William A. Nedorozic. We are honored to have with us this morning his family and friends, his son, William J. Nedorozic, his first wife, Sharon Remillard, his second wife, Carolyn Carrier Joubert, and family friend Don Baker, New York State Police Captain. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Also with us today to honor our Veteran of the Month are representing Congressman Paul Tonko, Colleen Williams, representing Congressman Antonio Delgado, Sarah Roberts, former Congressman Michael McNulty, representing New York State Senator Daphne Jordan, Haley Northrup, New York State Senator Neil Breslin, New York State Assemblyman Jake Ashby, Rensselaer County Legislative Chair Mike Stammel, Rensselaer County Legislative Vice Chair for Finance Robert Loveridge, representing Rensselaer County District Attorney Mary Pat Donnelly, Susan Mullen Caliphate, and the Commander of the Watervliet Arsenal, Colonel Milt Kelly. Also, County Legislators Dan Casale, Mark Fleming, and Tom Grant. As we are all well aware, Memorial Day and Veterans Day are special days to remember all of our veterans. This program was created to help us honor our veterans all year round. To us here in Rensselaer County, every day is Veterans Day. The Rensselaer County Honor Deceased Veteran Program represents veterans organizations throughout the entire county. This includes members of the American Legion, Disabled American Veterans, Veterans of Lansingburg, Military Order of the Purple Heart, Marine Corps League, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Korean War Veterans, Tri-County Council of Vietnam-era Veterans, Heroes at Home, Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, Vietnam Veterans of America, AMVETS, and the Rensselaer County Veterans Service Agency. I will now ask Mike Stammel, Rensselaer County Legislative Chair, and the assembled county legislators to come forward to tell us about our honored veteran for the month of October, William A. Nedorozic.
Thank you, everyone. I would also like to make note that Representative Steve Mann is here from Senator Schumer's office. Thank you, Steve, for attending. It's an honor and a privilege for you to speak of the veteran that we're honoring today, and to meet his family. My name is Mike Stammel. I'm chairman of the Rensselaer County Legislature. I welcome all of you in honor of vet ceremonies. Every month we are joined by many veterans organizations as we honor those who've passed away. Today we are honor a veteran that was very proud of his important part of the veterans, the Lansingburg, and who served on its board of directors. And I guess he was, from what I've read, he's been very active not only on the board at the Veterans Hall in Lansingburg, but in a lot of other things he got involved in. He was a hands-on kind of guy. Today we were recognized in the life of the service of William Nedorosik, commonly known as Bill, to his friends and family. William Nedorosik was born in Cohoes on August 11, 1940. Bill attended the elementary school in Cohoes, but chose to leave school before he had graduated. When he chose to enter the service, Bill's mother, Agnes, had to sign a special paperwork to allow him to enlist in the U.S. Navy months before his 18th birthday. After completing basic training in the Great Lakes, Illinois, Bill was assigned to the USS Valley Forge, which was known as the flagship of the Assumption Marine Warfare Task Force, Alpha, that was tasked with developing tactics to counter the threat of nuclear-powered submarines. It was the USS Valley Forge that Bill would participate in many important missions, and where he would be seen as Ocean's Fury. On a mission in the North Atlantic in January of 1959, Bill saw firsthand that the damage the ocean could do. The Valley Forge had an open bow design, and because of that, it suffered major damage when heavy North Atlantic seas broke over the flight deck several times and tore away parts of the port side. The ship was quickly repaired using parts from the decommissioned USS Franklin. The flurry of the water was something Bill would never forget. In early 1960, the USS Valley Forge supported the scientific effort known as Operation Skyhook that launched 3 huge balloons in the Caribbean in an effort to obtain data on the high-attitude cosmic rays. On December 19, 1960, Bill's ship took part in the recovery of Project Mercury space capsule in the Atlantic Ocean. A few days later, December 26, Bill's ship rushed to the aid of the USS Pine Ridge, which broke in two in heavy seas off the coast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. Helicopters from the Valley Forge plucked all 28 survivors who were clinging to the raft of their tanker and delivered them safely to the deck of the Valley Forge in a dramatic rescue. After he completed his service in the Navy, his Navy commitment in 1964, Bill enlisted in the USS Marine Corps in 1965 and earned the nickname of Ned from the fellow Marines. In 1966, he engaged in hostile enemy forces in the Republic of Vietnam, where he served as a fire team leader of B Company 1, Battalion 26 Marine Special Landing Forces. Bill's unit took part in the operation of the Deck House 3, Phase 2, codenamed Toledo, and Deck House 4. On September 24, 1968, Bill was honorably discharged from the U.S. Marine Corps at Portsmouth, New Hampshire. For his honorable service to his country, Bill was awarded the National Defense Service Medal and the Vietnam Special Service Medal. Like many veterans, Vietnam veterans, Bill returned home and struggled with the post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of encountering heavy combat and suffering the loss of several very close friends. Bill began working in the construction industry at H&M Contractors and later with John L. Wojcik Incorporated. Later in Bill's life, he became a camp manager at Kelts Grove in Waterford, Uncle Billy as he was called, while While there, he would listen to his favorite country music performers, such as Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, and Johnny Cash. Bill was a very patriotic member of the Veterans of Lansingburg, where he enjoyed spending time with his family, or his fellow veterans. Bill has also served as a marshal during several parades and was awarded the Veteran of the Year Award in 2016. Sadly, on April 15, 2018, Bill passed away, leaving behind a very proud son, William Nedorosik, his sister Carol, his brother Chuck, and Jim, several nieces and nephews, and numerous friends. William Nedorosik was preceded by his parents, John and Agnes, his sister Dolores, Jean and Jackie, his brother Ed, and his niece Carol. Bill is buried at the Gerald B. H. Solomon Saratoga National Cemetery in Schuylerville, New York. I'd like to say he definitely, for not only serving in one military branch, but two, he definitely had his share of living life on the high seas as well as ground warfare, and for that, you know, he was definitely a hero in his own right. And I want to thank the family for being here today, and as we present his story, and I'd like to leave you with a plaque, okay? Thank you. Anybody want to say anything? No? Okay. Go ahead. Yes. I'm my best.
I will now ask Colleen Williams, representing Congressman Paul Tonko, and Sarah Roberts, representing Congressman Antonio Delgado, to come forward.
Good morning, everyone. You have to forgive me, I have a bit of a cold. It is such an honor to join with all of you here this morning, especially with the family of Bill Nedorosik. Peter, as always, thank you to you and Lonnie for all you do for our veterans here in Rensselaer County each and every day. Congressman McNulty, thank you for beginning this wonderful tradition that the Congressman proudly carries out in most of the counties that we represent in New York's 20th Congressional. It's an honor to join with our elected officials every month. And of course, with our veterans, it is always my pleasure every month to join with you and to say thank you for all you've done to ensure that we get to lead the lives that we do here in America each and every day. But I am here on behalf of Congressman Tonko, who regretfully could not be here this morning as he is on his way to Washington, D.C. on legislative business. But he did ask that I extend greetings and express his sincere thanks for Bill's service to our nation. As a very small token of his appreciation, the Congressman furnished a flag to be flown over the United States Capitol in Bill's name for his service not only to our nation in the United States Navy and Marine Corps, but also to his service to the community. It sounds like he was really embedded in the community, and hearing about his love of children and his participation at the Veterans Club in Lansingburg, it just demonstrates the kind of person that he was and truly his commitment to making the lives of those around him better. So for that, Congressman Tonko and our office extends our deepest appreciation, and I will be presenting the flag alongside my colleague from Congressman Delgado's office, but before I do that, I'm going to allow Sarah to say a few words.
Hi there, thank you. Congressman Delgado is also on his way to Washington right now, but I just wanted to read a few words in his own words from the letter he wrote. I'm truly humbled to join Rensselaer County Honor Deceased Veteran Committee in honoring William A. Nedorosik, a dedicated community member who served our country bravely in the United States Navy and United States Marine Corps. On behalf of New York's 19th Congressional District, I thank Bill for his service and sacrifice to our great country. Bill's immense commitment to serving others did not end upon his return home. He was committed to helping his fellow veterans as a board member with the Veterans of Lansingburg. Our community cannot thank Bill enough for his compassion and dedication to his neighbors in need. America is eternally indebted to Bill for risking his life
Our Rensselaer County Executive, Steve McLaughlin, sends his regrets that he could not be in attendance. I will now present the County Executive's proclamation. I will now ask New York State Senator Neil Breslin to come forward.
Thank you very much, Peter. And to you, Mike McNulty, for being part of the reason that we're here in the beginning stages. Thank you, because you do much for not only the County of Rensselaer, but for every elected official. And I say that because at times elected officials become to think of themselves as more important than they really are. And when that happens, we should be advised to come to honor a vet, because we see the value of real Americans, people who have placed themselves ahead of us to save us, to protect us, to allow us to have these services and ceremonies, to do them at a time we choose, not someone else, and to enjoy all of the freedoms that we all take for granted every day. And we only have to look around the world for people fleeing in horror to understand that we have a special, special country. And we have a special country because of our honoree today and so many others who served this country. And Bill, I can only imagine being a kid from Cohoes, where I have some relatives who were kids in Cohoes at the same time, growing up and going into service and facing war at a time when he wasn't even able to sign for himself. And when I don't know someone personally, I think of what must have run through his mind at that time, and what must have run through your grandparents at that time, to allow their child, their grandchild, to go into service to protect not only himself and his family, but to protect me and my family. And to be able to both serve in the Navy and then the Marine Corps, and over and above that, to immediately bring all of us as elected officials back down to earth, to have continued to serve as a veteran who had fought for us and now was home to take care of young kids, protect them, be part of the veteran community, and serve so admirably. Bill was a special guy. And to you as family members who have sacrificed so much because of his service to others, I applaud you. And Bill, the son, I know what you've experienced. As close as I have is a brother who was a long-time person who served in the Army, and what it meant to us as a family to lose him for that period of time. So I congratulate you, Bill, and the rest of the family for your immense sacrifices to make the lives of the rest of us so much safer and better for all of us. So from the New York State Senate, I have the honor and privilege, the privilege provided to me by veterans to say to you, thank you, and to provide you with something from the New York State Senate that will be a part of our record forever, honoring your father. Congratulations.
I will now ask Haley Northrup, representing New York State Senator.
Short people problems over here. Good morning. I am here today representing New York State Senator Daphne Jordan. The senator regrets she could not be here with us today, but asked me to extend her warmest regards to you all. We forever honor the service and sacrifice. We remember the courage and the commitment of America's true heroes, the men and women of our armed forces who wear their country's uniform and proudly answer the call to serve. True heroes like veteran William Nedorosik, who we memorialize here today. So on behalf of Senator Jordan and all grateful New Yorkers, at this time I am pleased to present to the family of veteran William Nedorosik the New York State Liberty Medal and a New York State Senate proclamation. Thank you.
I will now ask New York State Assemblyman Jake Ashby and John McDonald III to come forward.
Well, good morning, everybody, and it's a pleasure to be here. I apologize for my tardiness. Seems like they still want to keep paving 787, so I got tied up a little bit. But I thought, along with my colleague Jake Ashby, just want to say a few words from respect from the Assembly. Bill came down to visit me last week before today's visit to tell me a little bit more about that. And yeah, he was a Cohoes guy, true and true, right? You know, he grew up there in the public school system, came back, worked for H&M, worked for John Wojcik. Those who know Cohoes, John Wojcik is a guy who walks around with an orange helmet on his head all the time, right? And they did a lot of good work in the community. There's no doubt about it. And Bill also served our country admirably, not once but twice, which is not always as frequent as you would think. People do their tour of duty, and then they come back and be a part of the community. Bill wanted a second bite at the apple. He even switched services, which is remarkable in its own sense. And as we talked about Bill, he had his challenges too when he came back. It's a reminder to all of us of our constant reminder that many of those who serve our country are introduced to so much trauma, and we need to make sure that we're there to support them when they come home. And I think sometimes we meet that challenge, and many times, unfortunately, we don't. And this serves as a reminder to all of us in many aspects, not only for the past, but also today. So on behalf of both myself and my friend and colleague in the Assembly, Jake Ashby, we too have a citation from the Assembly, as the Senator mentioned, memorializes his contribution to our society. And we thank you and the family and friends for bringing Bill's awareness to us today. Thank you.
Is it okay if I say something?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Jesus, yeah. Second act.
Sorry. Bill had come down to see me too, and we talked for a while. So I would like, because of that, and because of what his father did for our country, I wanted to share a few remarks. And he gives me an impression that he's kind of a character. Whether he was, racing with police in Cohoes, or allegedly shooting down streetlights, or pretending to stab a friend in the leg who had a prosthetic limb, who people didn't know had a prosthetic limb, trying to get a rise out of people. It sounded like he liked to have a good time. And, I think when combat veterans come home, John is exactly right. Sometimes it can be a struggle, because oftentimes we're kind of chasing that sensation, that rush that we had in combat, and really there's nothing like it. You're never gonna find it again. And so you may find yourself in certain situations where you are chasing that. But where Bill, really turned a corner is where he found service again to his family and to his fellow veterans, through the Veterans of Lansingburg and through other associations, and just helping people. And that's the message that he carried forward every day of his life. And that's the message that he tried to convey to his family, whether it was through music, through Waylon Jennings or Willie Nelson, trying to communicate with his son and other people in his life. He never lost sight of that importance of talk with Congressman McNulty, and it would be 50 years today that he entered into public service. And I wanted to make everybody aware of that and thank him for that. So, again, on behalf of myself and John McDonald in the New York State Assembly, I have a citation for the family.
Joe Simonik from the Rensselaer County Honor Deceased Veteran Committee will present the committee plaque at this time. Will the committee members please stand? I will now ask William to come forward for a few words of thanks.
Gonna need my glasses. It's that time of life. I wrote a whole bunch of things here, but our dignitaries have done such a phenomenal job. I'm going to probably try to cut it down, so bear with me as I sift out some of the things that they've already touched on. But if my father was here, if you know my dad, he'd have one foot out the door. He'd say, talking, 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 all these people talking. And he loved that commercial. We've all got places to go, that Geico commercial, where they're pulling the wood ship across the Delaware the road there, and they're saying, we've all got places to go. So I know you all have places to go, and on behalf of my dad, I'm going to try to get you there as soon as I can. But I do have to thank, I'm not going to say I'd like to thank, I'm just going to do it in bullet form. But first of all, as always, I have to thank my mother and my stepmother, Carolyn. I always say my fellow Vietnam veterans, who certainly during those first 20 years after Vietnam saved my father's life in their own way, and certainly were there, as has been said, for some of the difficult times. And unfortunately, those who aren't from veteran families, really, I don't know, have that appreciation until you go through it. But they are very, very incredible women, so thank you. Mr. McNulty, I had my own thank you for your longtime commitment to this program, so thank you for that. Especially Peter Goebel and Lonnie Warrington. Lonnie, thank you for putting all this together and tying up all the details and making this all work. Thank you. The Color Guard for bringing attention and setting the tone for the ceremony. The Honor of Deceased Veteran Committee. As I said, all the dignitaries, especially those that were patient enough to meet with me, Jake Ashby, John McDonald, and Michael Stammel, and their representatives who were then able to pass along some of and disseminate what I told them to the others. One of the most impressive things to me about this whole process was how apolitical it's been. So I really salute all of you for that. I salute all of you for that. We need more of that. If we could take this template right here and put it on a national level in all the localities, municipalities in Washington, D.C., we'd be in pretty good shape. So thank you. I want to thank the Undersecretary of Defense, Mr. Anthony Curta, and Senator Chuck Schumer and his staff, Miss Julia Alford, Miss Zarina Dolchev, Mr. Weiss, Miss Hannah Smith, and Mr. Mann. Could you raise your hand, Mr. Mann, please? I'm sorry. Thank you. Hopefully you can you hear me back there? I'm sorry. Maybe you didn't hear me before. I hope you did. Did you hear me before? I don't have to start over, do I? Okay. We all got places to go. 50 years my father suffered an injustice in some of his records, and I thank you to Senator Schumer, as I said, and his staff, because without them my dad would not have been buried. As I pass along my gratitude to everyone there. I'd like to thank my dad's neighbors, like we said at the summer camp, and for their love and care of my dad. And also I talked to one of his old friends. If anyone is from Cohoes, you might remember Shep. I talked to him last night. He's a legendary figure in Cohoes, along with his friends at Bill's Restaurant and Danny Lennon and crew. So if you're not from Cohoes, you don't know those people, but if you are, or you've passed through for any period of time, those are some legendary figures in the community. Special thanks always to my good friend Don Baker, who was one of my high school football teammates, and that's my other family. Without friends like Don and my other teammates and my my coach Brent Sturwell, who couldn't be here, my dad would like to say thank you all. And special, I think it's appropriate anytime Don's in the room to honor and remember his partner, his fallen partner, Joe Longobardo. So Don, if you could pass along our thoughts and prayers to his wife and family, I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. I wrote down, one of my favorite songs is, I like the Elvis Presley version the best, The Impossible Dream. And my favorite line from that song is, they run where the brave dare not go. And that's true of all my dad's friends at the Veterans Club and the people from the New York State Police and our local police departments. So I have a special place in my heart for all of those incredible people, so thank you, because it's allowed me, who didn't serve in the military, to have, as has been said, really a charmed life. I always say that my worst day is, my worst day here is better than my father's best day in Vietnam. And so I think we should all think of that when we're having a bad day. So I thought about what I could do for my dad and from my dad and what he would want most of all, because I thought it was especially important to do something for the veterans of Lansingburg. I thought of a gift. I thought of different things like a plaque or a statue or something to that effect. And then when I really thought more deeply, I thought, when I was about 3 or 4 years old, we passed an American flag. And my father told me, whenever you see that flag, remember the men who have died and sacrificed and the women who have sacrificed so you could have the life that you have. So what I'm going to do with this flag is I'm going to donate it to the veterans of Lansingburg after it's flown here. And I've spoken to PJ about this plan, and I'm going to present it at the meeting after I receive this back. And I've asked PJ to fly it until it's unfit to be flown, whether that's 2 months or 2 years or 10 years or 20 years, whatever it is. And then when we get it back, I'd like to dispose of it properly with the burning. And then I'm going to take the ashes and put it at my dad's gravesite. And also, he's been memorialized. There's pictures in the back if you haven't seen him, in Half Moon, where he domiciled with my mother, and Cohoes, New York. So that's what we're going to do with this flag. So thank you, everybody. If I missed anybody, I apologize, but I did try to shorten this down because we all got places to go. Okay, but thank you very much, and I'll leave you with 2 words, 2 of my father's favorite words. Semper Fidelis. Semper Fi. Thank you.
Please stand for the closing prayer.
Day is done, gone the sun, from the lake, the hill, and the sky. All is well. God of compassion, dignity, and strength, watch over this veteran and his family. Bless him and grant his family comfort and everlasting peace. Amen.
Amen. Retire the colors.
Retrieve colors. Two. Right face. Down right. Mark.